Hi, I'm Jane Matsumoto from the Japanese American Cultural and Community Center in Los Angeles, California. And I'm standing here in the heart of Little Tokyo at the Toshizo Watanabe Culinary Cultural Center, where I am the culinary curator. And we're joining Derek Yamashita of The Hidden Japan. Derek is actually from Southern California, but he lives currently in Yamagata Prefecture on the island of Honshu in Japan. For those of you who may not be familiar with Yamagata, that is in what we call the Tohoku region in the northern part of the island. And he's actually going to visit with a farmer in the rural part of Tsuruoka City where there's snow on the ground, but this farmer is actually going to harvest vegetables, and they claim in Yamagata that some of the sweetest harvest comes in this dead of winter underneath their snowy grounds where most farmers would be harvesting in the summer or fall. So let's see what Derek has waiting for us.
Thank you, Jane, for the introduction. So right now we're here in Tsuruoka City, and as you can see by the landscape, it's still the dead of winter. It's the beginning of March, but even during this time of year, we can still harvest fresh vegetables just like this. These are fresh carrots from Tsuruoka City. And today, to show us how it's done, we have Mr. Kano here. So he'll be showing us around today. Kano-san, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. All right, so right now Mr. Kano is very busy harvesting the crop, so I'm just going to take some time to explain more about the carrots here. So this technique here in Tsuruoka City, what they do is they'll plant these crops in the summer, in late July or early August, and then they'll let them sit underneath the ground all the way through winter, all the way into early spring. And the reason why they're able to keep these crops under so fresh is because there's heavy snow in this region. It gets very cold, so they'll leave these crops inside the snow, for many months. And it serves as an important food source during the winter time and early spring, when normally you wouldn't be able to harvest fresh crops. And the reason why these crops stay good here in Tsuruoka is because they're buried deep underneath the snow, and that actually helps them keep warm, because during the winter it gets up to -7, -8 degrees, even -12 degrees Celsius here in this area. But when it's underneath the ground, buried underneath the snow, it doesn't get too far below zero, so it keeps them from freezing and killing the vegetables. And another good effect about the vegetables here, if we eat them after they've been buried under the snow, is that as they're sitting underneath the ground the whole winter, they're not just lying dormant. They're also they're growing a bit. The sugars inside the vegetables is maturing, and also all the roots, all the energy and life force from the roots, from the leaves, they pull into the main body of the carrot itself. So that causes it to become more sweet. It causes the texture to become much more crunchy, much more fresh. So overall, Mr. Kano and a lot of farmers here in Tsuruoka, they say that the most delicious time of the year to harvest fresh vegetables is actually in the winter and early spring, when you mature these crops underneath the snow. And as you can see around us, we still have some snow left on the ground here. But normally on a normal winter, we'd have over 1 meter of snow in this area. It's been a pretty warm couple of winters these past few years. Anyways though, because there's snow, what they first do is they get a tractor and they run over the snow to take off this top layer. And then Mr. Kano and actually his mother, they go through all by hand, picking each carrot by hand. And they'll harvest about 800 kilograms worth of carrots in a single day. So anyways, Mr. Kano and his family, they've been doing farming for many generations. Mr. Kano's been a farmer for over 20 years. And they've been selectively breeding their carrots, and they've been perfecting their the growing techniques to produce very, very beautiful carrots just like these. So from now, we're going to observe them more, and then I'm also going to give a shot about how to harvest some of these carrots. Oh, でかい。すごいですか。これこの土の中に石とかがあったりすると、ちっちゃいうちにちっちゃいのこの割れてる。障害物があると、本当はまっすぐ伸びてるはずだけど、石があったりすると、2つにこうやって2つになったりする。だから細かくやっぱり土を耕すしないとこんな感じで。だから石が多いところだと結構格好悪いっていう点が出たり。なかなか売れない商品ですか。So one interesting thing about harvesting the carrots in the winter is that because it's so cold and because the life force, or just like the life force from the carrot, it goes from the leaves, from the stems, and it concentrates into the root. It causes the carrot to be kind of hard to harvest, because normally for carrots you just pluck them up. But because it's so cold, because these leaf portions, the stems, have become so weak, if you do that, it'll just pop right off. So you kind of have to harvest. You gotta grab it at the base and wiggle it out. All right, so we got about 24 carrots here, and so now we're going to take it to a kitchen, and we're going to cook it together. カノさん、今日はありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。はい、いただきましょう。はい、行きましょう。All right, so now with the carrots that we harvested with Mr. Kano, we're here at a co-working kitchen here in Sudoka City, and we're here for a special dinner. It's not just Mr. Kano's carrots, but it's also multiple farmers from around Sudoka City, very famous farmers at that. And they've all brought their crops, all their specialty crops from all over the area together, and they're using family recipes, and they're not just farmers, they're also chefs. So they're cooking up their own vegetables, they're making a variety of dishes. It's like kind of it's a farm to table kind of dining experience. And with the carrots, for example, we have some freshly juiced carrot juice from the carrots. And if Mr. Kano was telling the truth, this should be 9 times sweeter than your average carrot, or carrot juice. And he was not lying. I have a hard time believing that there's nothing added to this. This is just carrots. This is just raw carrots juiced together. And it tastes like, oh my gosh. It is the sweetest. I can't believe it's carrots. I can't believe it's just raw carrots. And in addition to the carrot juice, Mr. Kano's carrots are included in almost every single dish in this really, really elaborate dinner course. So right here, this is a carrot steak. So it's just freshly grilled carrot, just grilled as is. And the texture and the flavor is absolutely perfect. It tastes like sweet corn almost. It's so sweet. I think those 4 months of the snow, they really made all the difference. I've never had a carrot like this before. And I gotta say, I think it's almost like candy. It tastes almost like candy. All right, well that's going to be it for dinner here tonight. And again, these were the crops that were featured in today's dinner. The carrots from Mr. Kano that we harvested together. 2 different types of onions, including one that's an heirloom crop that's only grown here in Sudoka, here in Shonai. This is a special type of onion, really, really rich texture, really, really good, we call it tender. It's really, really tender, really good flavor. Also, these potatoes, they were selectively bred over generations. They were grown with special techniques, so they're very, very soft, they're very, very sweet. Absolutely delicious. And the farmers here, the 4 farmers that we featured today, they're not just farmers, they're actually they're really good chefs, because they brought together their recipes, their techniques, and the dinner course that they made tonight together that they collabed on. They planned this for weeks and weeks, planning out this meal. It was absolutely delicious. This is the first time they did this farm to table dining experience where all the farmers brought their crops in and cooked it together. And I should mention that Sudoka City here is the only city in Japan that's recognized as a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. In short, that just means that UNESCO has a special recognition for the culinary practices, the sustainable farming techniques, and harvesting techniques of the vegetables here. The heirloom crops, there's well over 100 heirloom crops in this region that have been protected by the people here for generations. And also everything that's been brought together and presented to UNESCO is in large part because of the farmers, the food producers, and the chefs that were all gathered here today. So this is a farm-to-table experience from all the farmers harvesting crops and bringing it together and cooking it. And it's a new experience that they just made here today, but it's something that you guys can try out if you come visit Sudoka and Yamagata. Also, you can even stay at the farmers' homes and stay overnight and then harvest with them in the morning. So if you're interested in a tour like this, please check the link in the description below, and I'd be happy to be your guide, or I have a good number of other really, really charming local guides. You can go on the farms with people just like Mr. Kano and the people that you saw tonight, and I really, really recommend it. All right, Jane, I'll give it back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek. That was quite a virtual tour. Wasn't it exciting to see all that can happen on a farm in the middle of winter? Well, we look forward to more adventures where authentic, deep stories are told by artisans from Yamagata with the Hidden Japan. Thank you, Derek. We look forward to joining you again soon.